Let me tell you something that might shock you. The women who get men completely obsessed with them aren't the prettiest ones, the smartest ones, or even the nicest ones. They're the ones who know exactly how to talk to men in a way that makes every other woman fade into the background. And here's what's going to sting. Most women are pushing good men away with every single word they say. You've probably seen it. That woman who walks into a room and somehow every guy wants to talk to her. She's not perfect. She might not even be your type, but there's something about the way she speaks that drives men crazy. It's not what she says, it's how she says it. Here's the truth that nobody talks about. High-value women don't try harder to get men's attention. They actually do less. They don't chase conversations. They don't fill up every quiet moment. They don't work overtime to be liked. Instead, they do something totally different, something that goes against everything you think you should do when you meet a guy you like. If you've ever wondered why some women have men falling all over themselves while you're sitting there feeling invisible, even when you're being your absolute best, you're about to find out why. Because the way high-value women talk isn't just different, it changes everything. And once you get it, you'll never talk to a man the same way again. This might be the video that completely flips your love life upside down. Let's start with the truth nobody wants to hear. Most women are accidentally ruining their chances with great guys before they even get started. And the worst part, they're doing it while trying their hardest to be perfect. The first mistake is trying way too hard to make him like you. You laugh at everything he says, even when it's not funny. You agree with everything, even when you don't. You tell him way too much about yourself, way too fast. You think you're being fun and open, but what you're really saying is, I don't think I'm good enough, just being myself. Then there's the explaining trap. Have you ever caught yourself explaining everything to death? Why you can't see him tonight? Why something upset you? Why you feel a certain way? You think you're helping him understand you, but you're actually showing him you don't trust yourself or your choices. Another killer mistake is dumping all your feelings on him at once. You think being open creates closeness, but timing is everything. Share too much too soon, and you scare him away instead of bringing him closer. The fourth trap is trying to be the perfect girlfriend before you're even dating. You ask what he wants to do, where he wants to go, what he likes. You think you're being sweet, but you're actually disappearing. He can't fall for someone he can't see. And here's the one that might surprise you most, making everything too easy for him. You're always free when he calls. You always say yes. You never have plans. You think this makes you the dream girl, but it actually makes you boring and forgettable. Every single one of these mistakes sends the same message. I don't think I'm worth much, so you probably shouldn't either. And once a man gets that message, game over. But here's the good news. None of this is set in stone. These are just bad habits, and habits can be changed. The women who naturally get and keep amazing men have simply learned to talk differently. They know secrets that most women never figure out. And I'm about to share those secrets with you because you deserve to be with someone who sees your worth, appreciates your value, and can't imagine being with anyone else. Before we talk about how high value women speak, we need to get clear on what high value actually means. Because if you think it's about having the perfect job, perfect body, or perfect Instagram, you're missing the point completely. A high value woman isn't valuable because of what she has. She's valuable because of how she sees herself and moves through the world. It's an energy, a way of being, and it comes from knowing deep down that she matters, whether anyone else sees it or not. Here's what this looks like in real life. A high-value woman doesn't need constant proof that she's loved. When a guy doesn't text back right away, she doesn't panic or make up stories about what it means. She just keeps living her life because her happiness doesn't depend on his response. She doesn't chase anyone because she gets something most women don't. Your energy is precious. You don't waste it on people who don't appreciate it. She knows that the right person will see her value without her having to prove it every single day. A high-value woman also knows the power of mystery, not games or manipulation, but the beautiful art of not telling him everything all at once. She doesn't spill her whole life story on the first date because she knows that mystery makes people curious, and curiosity creates attraction. But here's what might surprise you. High-value women aren't perfect. They have bad days and insecurities just like everyone else. The difference is how they handle these moments. They don't make their problems everyone else's emergency. They deal with their stuff first, then share when they're ready. Most importantly, high-value women have boundaries, and they stick to them. They don't have to be mean about it. They just know what they will and won't accept, and they show this through how they act, not just what they say. They also understand something huge about men. Men are drawn to women who have their own lives. A high-value woman doesn't lose herself in a relationship. She invites a man into her already amazing life instead of expecting him to complete her empty one. This isn't about being cold or distant. High-value women are warm and loving, but they love from choice, not need. They're with someone because they want to be, not because they're desperate to be loved back. When you carry this energy, something magical happens. You stop attracting men who want to use you and start attracting men who want to add to your already great life. You become the woman that quality men fight to keep, not the one they take for granted. Let's talk about what's actually happening in a man's brain when he meets a woman who talks like she values herself. Understanding this is the key to everything, because when you know what triggers attraction, you can create it naturally. Men are wired to want what challenges them and lose interest in what comes too easily. This isn't something they choose, it's built into their DNA. When a woman shows through her words and energy that she has high standards, it flips a switch in his brain that makes him want to prove he's worth her time. But listen carefully. This isn't about playing hard to get or messing with his emotions. It's about actually being someone who knows what she deserves and won't settle for less. When a high-value woman talks, she creates several things at once that men find irresistible. First, she makes him feel safe. Her calm energy tells him she's not going to be dramatic or crazy. This lets him relax and be himself around her, which is something most men rarely get to do. Second, she makes him curious. Because she doesn't tell him everything about herself right away, his brain becomes naturally interested in learning more. Curiosity is one of the strongest forces in human nature, and when you can create it in a healthy way, you become magnetic. Third, she makes him feel important without losing herself. She appreciates him and notices his efforts, but she doesn't worship him or put him on a pedestal. This balance makes him feel good about himself while still seeing her as his equal. Maybe most importantly, she shows through everything she says and does that she has choices, not in a threatening way, but in a confident way. She talks like someone who knows she's valuable and wouldn't settle for being treated badly. This triggers something deep in good men, the desire to be chosen by someone who is picky. Men are also incredibly attracted to women who can handle their own emotions. When you can feel upset about something but talk about it calmly instead of exploding or shutting down, you show emotional strength that most men find amazing. It proves that you can handle life's problems without becoming a problem yourself. There's also something powerful about a woman who can be vulnerable without being needy. When you can share your feelings without making them his job to fix, you create closeness without pressure. This is rare and incredibly attractive. Finally, men are drawn to women who feel secure in themselves. This means you can get close to people without losing who you are. And you can handle relationship problems without getting anxious or clingy. When the way you talk shows this security, it tells quality men that you're someone they can build something real with. Understanding this isn't about manipulation, it's about alignment. When you naturally have these qualities and talk from this place, you attract men who are looking for you or exactly what you offer. You become irresistible, not because you're trying to be, but because you genuinely are. Now we get to the good stuff. Exactly how high-value women speak to men in a way that creates crazy attraction. This isn't about memorizing lines or pretending to be someone else. It's about learning a way of talking that shows your worth naturally. The first rule is what I call calm confidence. High-value women don't talk from fear, desperation, or the need to convince anyone of anything. They speak from a peaceful place of knowing their own truth. You can hear this in their voice, their pace, even their word choices. Instead of saying, I hope this doesn't sound stupid, but a high-value woman just says what she means. I've been thinking about something I want to share with you. No apologies, no asking permission to speak, no putting herself down before she even starts. The second rule is real listening. While other women are planning what to say next or trying to impress him, high-value women are actually curious about who he is. They ask questions that go deeper than small talk and give him space to really answer. But here's the key. They listen to understand him, not to figure out how to make him like them more. High-value women also master smart mystery. They don't hide things or play games, but they understand that showing yourself slowly creates much deeper connection than telling everything at once. They might say something like, that reminds me of something that happened to me once. Maybe I'll tell you that story another time, and then change the subject. This makes him curious and gives the relationship room to grow. Another huge piece is owning your feelings. When a high-value woman feels something, she takes full responsibility for it without making it his problem to solve. Instead of saying, you make me feel insecure when you talk to other women, she might say, I notice I feel a little uncertain when you talk to other women. I want to figure out where that's coming from for me. This shows maturity while still being honest. High-value women also know smart appreciation. They don't praise everything he does, but when they do notice something, it means something. Instead of you're so amazing, they might say, I really appreciate how you handled that situation. It shows me something beautiful about who you are. Maybe most importantly, they've learned graceful boundaries. They can say no without explaining themselves to death or feeling bad about it. A high-value woman might simply say, that doesn't work for me, but thanks for thinking of me. No long explanations, no guilt, just clear and kind communication. They also use invitation words instead of demand words. Instead of, you need to call me more, they might say, I love hearing your voice. It would mean a lot to me if we could talk more often. This creates connection instead of pressure. High-value women are also comfortable with quiet moments. They don't rush to fill every pause in conversation. They let conversations breathe, let deeper thoughts come up, let meaningful moments happen naturally. Finally, they show their standards through their actions as much as their words. They don't lecture about how they want to be treated. They just respond well to good treatment and don't reward behavior that doesn't meet their standards. When you talk this way consistently, something beautiful happens. You stop attracting men who want to test how much they can get away with and start attracting men who want to treat you well. You stop having to convince anyone you're worth it because the way you talk proves it naturally. This is the difference between chasing love and attracting it, between hoping someone will see your value and knowing they will because you make it impossible to miss. Let's get specific. I want to give you actual phrases and ways of talking that high-value women use to create deep attraction. These aren't pickup lines or tricks. They're real ways of expressing yourself that naturally draw quality men closer. When you want to show interest without seeming desperate, try, I'm really enjoying getting to know you. I'm curious to see where this goes. This shows you're interested while staying independent and not putting pressure on him. If he's not consistent with texting or calling, instead of getting mad, try, I love it when we talk regularly. It helps me feel more connected to you. This tells him what you need without making him wrong for not doing it before. When you need to protect your time, say, I'd love to see you, but I need more notice to plan things properly. Can we set something up for next week? This keeps your standards while staying warm and open. For last-minute invitations, try, that sounds great, but I already have plans tonight. I'd love to do it another time, though. No long explanations about what you're doing or sorry messages for not being free. When he shares something personal, thank you for trusting me with that. I can see why that's important to you. This acknowledges that he's being vulnerable while validating his feelings. If something is bothering you, Something's been on my mind and I'd love to talk about it when you have time. I care about us, so I want to address it the right way. This shows you're mature and that you care about the relationship. When you want to appreciate something specific, the way you handled that showed me something really good about your character. I really respect that. Specific appreciation is way more powerful than generic compliments. For expressing what you need, something that really makes me happy in relationships is spontaneous adventures together. I'd love more of that with you. This shares your desire without making it a demand. When you're processing feelings, I'm working through some feelings about this. I want to be thoughtful about how I share them with you. This shows emotional intelligence and respect. If he's not meeting your standards, I care about what we're building and I want it to feel good for both of us. This is what I need to feel secure and happy. Clear communication without threats. For keeping some mystery, that's a story for another time, with a smile, when he asks about something you're not ready to share yet. When planning gets complicated, I'm flexible with most things, but I do need some structure around our time together. What works for you while still honoring that? For setting physical boundaries, I really like you and I want to take things at a pace that feels right for both of us. When he's stressed or upset, I'm here if you want to talk about it, but I'm also happy to just be here with you. The secret to all these phrases is the energy behind